Hi, my name is Briana C, and I am with the Community Enrichment Project, and
this is her co-host, Kyia P. It's true, I'm back in the flesh.
And on today's episode, we have a question. And the question is, are people becoming more sensitive or more socially aware? And we have a couple of topics that we want to discuss and just dig deeper into, and just discuss how things have changed over the years surrounding these topics. We are going to start with race. The first topic we have is colorism. Is it pointless, and have we experienced it?
Colorism absolutely is pointless. So is racism. A while ago, I saw a tweet on Twitter. Love that app. And it was talking about how subconsciously, how a lot of Black people want to be closer. What is it? What is the phrase? Like, they want to be closer to whiteness. And, colorism is an excellent example of that, because I'm sorry. I'm thinking. I know what I want to say. I'm trying to get it out.
No, I get it.
Being more desired by the white man, and if you are of a lighter complexion, you're closer in color to the white man. Colorism has really wreaked havoc on the Black community, continues to, and probably always will, honestly. Sadly.
Yeah, I think that, like you said, it's pointless. Race in itself was only created to benefit white people.
Yes.
So, when I meet, other Black people who are colorist or who are biased because of skin color, it's you realize that it's not doing anything for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't help you at the end of the day. And growing up, I went to mixed school when I was younger, and then in second grade I switched to an all-Black school, and that's why I really started to experience colorism. I didn't experience it directly, but the younger girls who were they had a darker shade of skin, they experienced it really bad. And it's crazy. It's I can't put into words the feeling of growing up and knowing that I wasn't desirable because of my skin color, and having to be constantly left out or just picked over because of my skin color. And it definitely created a lot of issues that were I don't think I hated myself, but I definitely think that I didn't really learn to love my skin color until after middle school. That's when everybody was oh my gosh, team dark skin.
Yeah.
Which is so weird, because where did that switch even come from?
Mm-hmm.
Don't know.
So I have never experienced colorism because I am the color that people prefer. No, and I'm not even being funny, but what I will say is that I too have witnessed, I have friends of all shades and colors, disclaimer. So, hearing my friend who is of a darker complexion of me, hearing her stories, her and a plethora of my other friends' stories, it really breaks my heart, because in the same way where Black women as a whole could be I wasn't desired. Oh, my laptop doesn't time out. Okay. The same way that Black women as a whole can be I didn't feel desired growing up by Black men or men of other races. That hurts even more because it's coming from your own community. And I have my little sisters, and my baby sister Farah, she's 14, and to hear her talk about her experiences sometimes. We had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, actually. She was talking about her school dance, and she was excited, and she's talking about her date. And I'm tell me about him. Are the guys asking you out? And she's no, Kyia, guys aren't really dark-skinned girls. And I was just, it wasn't news to me, because colorism, obviously, it's been going on forever, but it just kind of broke my heart, because I wanted to make sure that she knew that, one, that wasn't, I don't want to say true, because it is true. Some men really don't like darker skinned women, but it broke my heart, because I'm lighter than her. So it just feels I'm a part of the problem, one, and two, it's I want to make sure that I say the correct thing, because it's so easily easily to be like, oh, well, you're beautiful, and it's like you don't really get it because you don't.
Yeah, you don't experience it.
Yeah, you don't experience it. So in that sense, I'm a woman of many words, but that really left me speechless, and I just had to let her know, like, you're gorgeous, and your complexion makes you gorgeous amongst other things. Like, I've heard when people say, oh, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. Oh, brother, I can't, like, form this speech. Like, that actually disgusts me, because it's the same thing as saying, oh, you're pretty for a black girl, you're pretty for a dark-skinned girl. What does that even mean, that I'm pretty in spite of my color and not because of my color? Like, I just, like, my heart really breaks. And like I said, I'm very cautious with how I speak on these topics, because I guess by the masses or by men, I guess I'm more desired. I obviously don't care about that, but, like, it just speechless every time. Colorism actually makes me sick to my stomach.
But I felt that, though, because growing up, like, I can remember multiple... Oh, gosh, hold on.
I had to clear my throat, too.
I can recall multiple times where there was a guy that I probably had a crush on, and I would hear him talk about dark-skinned girls and how he would, be like, oh, she's this, she's that, because she's dark-skinned. So, definitely when it comes to, like, guys, honestly... It's really it's hard to gauge if they really like dark-skinned women or if they're just experimenting.
Yeah.
And I definitely have been used as an experiment. And it's really like, it doesn't hurt anymore, but to know that was the only, like, intention behind the person ever having interest in me, it definitely makes me want to, like, guard my heart with, like, all my might. So, yeah, I totally understand.
Oh, yes. We're sharing a script today, guys. Don't judge us. Okay. Not my sister texted me. I summoned her. Okay. So next up, we're going to speak on educational equity, in this being performative. So, boom. Slick Breezy, you want to start, or?
I'll start by talking about my experience in college. I used to go to Delaware State University, and there was a point in my freshman year where, like, the Coast Guard would come on campus, and they would, like, Delaware State is a HBCU. I said that right? Yeah. It's a HBCU, so it's mostly black, brown students going to that college, historically black. So it would be, like, white Coast Guard officers coming over to our campus and recruiting. And I would notice, like, every time that they would recruit, it would always be based on the fact that, oh, like, you would go to college for free, you wouldn't have to pay, and it would always be centered around money. And I think that it is performative because black and brown students, or students of color in general, struggle with college just because we're always, the last. We get the corners of everything. So I think that a lot of military recruiters, they target young students because they know that once they hear, like, certain things like free college or no tuition, it's like, oh, they're going to sign up. But in actuality, the military is a huge commitment. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you're not in your right mind and you're just thinking about money or the scarcity, the lack of no money, you're going to be quick to sign up for things like that. And that's where I feel like it's performative. I don't think it's always performative. There are some organizations out here who genuinely want to see people of color go to school and be successful and be able to pay their loans off. And there are other organizations who are feeding off of the insecurities we have around money. Yes.
Excellent point, Bree. Thank you for saying that, because let's talk about it. Okay, so, I don't know how long ago this was, but me and Briana had a conversation about how black people, a lot of the time, like, how we have trauma from growing up poor. And that really hit home for me.
It's stuffy in here, y'all.
It's stuffy. Hold on. Because it's giving spring, and spring hasn't even really sprung yet, so hold on. talking about how like being poor can create trauma like around your finances and stuff. And I didn't grow up poor, but my mom definitely was stretching everything that could be stretched during my formative years. Jeez, it feels like. And watching her kind of like struggle to like just keep her head above water at times, it definitely changed my relationship with money. Like now that I'm older and I'm working on really becoming more self-sufficient, my relationship with money has been like either really hot or cold, where it's like, you know, I've had a really bad day or a bad month, I'm gonna buy something that I really probably don't need and just like not think about it, and then I'll face the consequences in a week. But that cycle just keeps repeating. Or it's like, don't ask me to go nowhere, don't ask me to do anything, I'm saving for nothing really. But it's just like, I want to have my money in order, because to like not have your money together, like that will really mess with your mental. And I like, it took me a minute to remind myself that I'm 20, I'm young, I'm human, money's not even real, but that's a conversation for another day. But absolutely, colleges and universities and the military, they absolutely do prey on young Black and brown students, because they know that half of the time we don't got it like that. And it's so quick to be like, well, you know what I mean, free college, free housing, free meals. There are some like some students in DC and PG County in particular, because that's home for me, where it's like during the pandemic, the schools were like, okay, like we're still gonna be open to feed students, because a lot of kids, like they don't have food at home. They're like they're not getting 3 stable meals a day, and it's just heartbreaking. Yes, it's heartbreaking, but it's just like that needs to be dissected and reviewed on a deeper level, because it's like, why is going away to the military like just for basic needs? Like we're not even thinking about like college yet. Like we're not even thinking about the 401k and the benefits and the Camaro and like the Hellcat and like all of the other fancy things that come along with the military. Like we're just like, okay, I'll have a place to lay my head, food to eat, companionship for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And like, do you know how detrimental or like how bad your home life has to be for this, like just for that to be what signs you on?
Yeah,
like
that's why they pray.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I want to talk about Howard University.
Okay.
Yeah, the president, I don't know his name. I'm talking to you. Let's get into it.
Uh-oh.
So right here, yeah, because I'm real mad. So right here we have our student loans beneficial to brown and Black students.
I don't think they are.
Because let me tell you something. First of all, college should be free. Okay, that's been established. Student loans. America owes Black people like trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars that we probably won't see in our lifetime. So, I think one of the best ways to start giving that money back to us would be in student loans. People who rack up like $500,000 in student debt by going to like Harvard and Yale and the Ivy Leagues, or even Howard University, which is a private HBCU in Washington, D.C. Like, it's kind of crazy to me, because not only do you have your debt, right, but over the years you collect interest. So boom. So you started with like a $500,000 loan, but it's 10 years later and now you paying off $700K because of interest. The math will never math.
It just couldn't be me.
Absolutely not. Like you're a slave to them. Oh man, different conversation for a different day. But like it's actually crazy, because the cycle will continue to repeat and repeat for a piece of paper that certifies you to do what?
Yep.
To do what? Let's have the conversation. Like, man, please, no. Yeah, so scholarships, I do feel like, unless it's federal Pell Grant money, which is free money, like that's money that they give you and, you know, you don't have to pay back.
Let's talk about scholarships.
Yeah.
Let's talk about scholarships and how hard it is to get a scholarship.
They want you to trauma dump in an essay.
I really just don't understand, like, what is the point of a scholarship if nobody can get it? That's where the equity comes into.
Yes.
It's like, why do I have to do all of... What if growing up I had to take care of 3 of my siblings and I couldn't do sports or I couldn't always volunteer. That's where it comes from. Like, scholarships that they say, like, colleges and organizations want you to be this outstanding student who did 3 sports and always showed up to the volunteer things. But, like, we have lives outside of school. Mm-hmm. I just feel like it should be way easier. Honestly, I think that if it was easier for me to get a scholarship and college wasn't so expensive, I would still be in college. Yeah. But because of those factors and other factors, of course, like, I just don't believe in, like you said, I don't believe in repeating that cycle. I don't believe in being a slave to a system that really doesn't care about me.
At all.
They only see us as numbers at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Now, that's not every organization, but most. Mm-hmm. Most, they only care about money because the more people they fund, the more money they get.
Yes.
That's it.
And once again, it's a cycle that will never end, which is why, once again, it probably won't be in our lifetime, but the day that college becomes free, degrees would, like, have no meaning because it's just high school part 2, but now, like, you can actually go out and make a living for yourself. Yeah. But who really needs a degree anyway? And
that's what they don't want us to realize.
Yeah.
That degrees help, of course, but, I mean, if you take the money away from how much, like, if you take the expenses away, degrees are meaningless, just like a diploma is.
I absolutely agree. You want to move into section 2?
Yes, our next section is identity and sexism. And we are going to start with sexism. What happens when men are placed on a pedestal?
What happens when men are placed on a pedestal? We have women who don't like other women because of the opinions of a man, or they have internalized misogyny where, like, they project onto other women where it's like, whoa, you're not ideally what a man would want, and that threatens me because I formed my entire life around being what a man wants and being desirable and being like, like, lower your tone, man. Like, it was never that serious. That is what that breeds. That's the type of women that internalized misogyny breeds. And
then you, like you said, everything is a cycle.
Yeah.
Everything is a cycle. I feel like this society, they place men on a pedestal too much to the point where some men feel like they cannot do any wrong. I have come across, I would say, a handful of men who don't know how to take accountability, don't know how to apologize and actually say, I'm sorry. They just beat around, or they justify their actions. And they can get away with it. Like, men do not understand how privileged they are in this country. And, like, just like with white people, they don't use their privilege to help women at all.
Yes, at all. And, of course, this is not every man. Something that I hate the most is when I'm speaking about men and I'm like, oh, I hate men, or men are always so whatever, etc. And then there's always the one guy in the room who feels like he has to play devil's advocate, and he's like, well, it's not all guys. And obviously, it's like, we know that, but the bad has outweighed the good for centuries. And I'm quite frankly not being dramatic. Like, I mean it when I say that the bad has outweighed the good when it comes to men. Okay. No, but yeah, the patriarchy ended, please. There's so much to get into. I want to kind of talk about Black men in particular.
Okay.
Because, like, they be quick to be like, oh, like, you just didn't have your dad in your life, or you just had, like your ex hurt your feelings, and now you think it's all men.
Not true. Probably true, though. But, like, is it wrong if that is true?
Exactly. Are you not a Black man? Did you not hurt me in some way, shape, or form?
Exactly.
I'm speaking true to my experience, but, like, don't go and blame it on me having daddy issues or never getting over an ex. Like, you're invalidating my experience.
The way the world is, everybody has some type of issues with their parents.
Yes, literally. Literally. And I think it's so funny because men are once again so quick to be like, oh, you have daddy issues. So do you.
And your mommy issues.
And you got mommy. Men with... No. Because I feel like men with mommy issues are more, not dangerous, but it's like their psychological makeup is worse than women with daddy issues. Because It just is. Thank you. That's it. Case in point.
It is because it's not like, I feel like lately, or from what I've seen like on TikTok, I feel like people are like, oh, like they talk about daddy issues a lot on TikTok. But maybe I'm on the wrong side of TikTok, but I rarely ever see anybody talking about mommy issues in men. And honestly, it looks different in every man.
It does. And that's what's scary. Like, typically, Cassie, Euphoria, daddy issues, textbook. Okay, cool. But Joe Goldberg from You,
yep,
mommy issues down, okay? Yep. But it's like, he's a serial killer. Cassie's just not a good person, but Joe's a serial killer. You see what I'm talking about, right?
Exactly.
So,
but people like romanticize Joe's character.
He's a Scorpio, so not too much of him. I'm joking. He's a Scorpio, though. No, but absolutely. And it's because he's a man. It's because, and he's attractive. He's an attractive man. And he's white.
Cassie's character gets a lot of hate. And she's not doing the same thing he's doing.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not nearly as bad.
She's doing horrible things to people just like he is.
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting, I don't ever see anybody like Team Cassie. Or maybe I'm on the wrong side of TikTok again, but
my girl getting death threats.
Exactly.
Over last season. That's yeah. It'll never make sense. I really want to take men off of the pedestal. Women are the superior gender.
Have you ever heard of the male gaze versus the
female gaze?
Female gaze? Yeah.
Nope, you were right, the woman gaze. I don't use female when I'm talking about human women. I have heard of the male gaze. There was actually a post, I think you responded to it, about Cassie in like that episode on Euphoria. That scene with her and Nate where she was like, you can control what I eat, who I talk to, what I wear. I was like, oh, my girl is in too deep.
All right, I want to get into Cassie's character on Euphoria.
I hope y'all watch Euphoria, because if not, tap in. Thank you. Word to Sweetie.
So basically, backstory on Cassie's character. She's a girl who has really bad daddy issues, as we explained, and she ends up doing something really harmful to her best friend. I'm not gonna spoil it, but she ends up dating this guy, and it's really harmful to her best friend. And I would like to talk about her internalized misogyny.
Yes.
Because I don't relate to her character, but I understand. High School Me understands, and High School Me gets it, why she is the way she is, which is why I don't do too much on Cassie's character. Like, growing up without a dad is very harmful, and it definitely, it tricks your brain into thinking that you have to be perfect for a man. And that's what really upsets me about this society, is that there's a lot of women out here who wake up early morning and get really cute, all because of a man to tell them that, all because of a man to not even be satisfied
enough
with how she looks. And it's just like, it's sad to see. It really is sad to see, which is why, like, I get it, though. I understand why women do that. I just think that when you take it out on other women who don't look like you, or stuff like that,
that's when it becomes a problem.
You're very dense as a person to not be aware that the only reason that you're like that is because you didn't feel chosen. So I get Cassie's character. I don't like her actions, but I do understand the character.
Yes.
I get it.
One of my favorite contrasts of that particular episode I think you're talking about was when Kat, like, she literally woke up at 4 a.m. and then there's this montage of her waking up every day at 4 a.m. for like a week, and Nate does not notice her once. But
didn't say anything.
There is one day that Cassie dresses up similar to Nate's ex, and like he gives her the slightest glance, and she's just over the moon. She's like, oh my god, like, today's gonna be a great day. And at the moment, it doesn't even register to her that the only reason why he even looked in her direction is because
she doesn't look like herself. She
looks like Maddie. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, you know. But I don't relate to Cassie's character because I'm not losing sleep over nobody except for Ariana Grande. Sorry. But like in the sense of like wanting to wake up 30 minutes early and like do your little eyeshadow and give yourself a little cut crease for a dude. It's cute.
Do it for you though.
Yes, do it for you, like to up your confidence, not to be visually appealing for a man.
Yeah.
think the girls lost the plot of the movie a really long time ago. But I'm gonna help them get back on track. It's okay. Yeah, cause no. Identity. How do you identify?
Honestly, I don't identify.
Exactly.
Because what is that? At the end of the day, like, I'm Briana. I'm whoever Briana wants to be when she wakes up. Sometimes I want to do my hair. Sometimes I want to chill in my bed. Like, I don't want to be put in a box. I feel like pronouns and stuff like that, I respect them.
Absolutely.
You know, if you tell me your pronouns are them, they, she, they, he, they, I'm going to respect it, but I'm not going to confine you to that.
Yes.
Like, if you want to explore other options and go other places, do other things, like, that's the type of person I am. I have, like, family members who are like, well, back in the day, we didn't have pronouns, so you can't expect me to just get used to it.
But here's the thing. Since the dawn of time, what if everybody kind of had pronouns?
Everybody did have pronouns the dawn of time. He, she, they.
Like
that.
literally. And my favorite thing when I'm explaining what it means for somebody to be non-binary to, let's say, my parents, I feel like I have this conversation with my dad all the time, and it's just like, you're not getting it because you don't want to. Anyways, he's like, how does somebody identify as a they, them? Like, you're either a man or a woman, he or she. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I explained it to him. I'm like, when you're referencing someone and you don't know their gender, how do you address them? They. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you've done it before, but because somebody's like, these are my pronouns, please respect me, please address me as such, you're like, no, this is a problem. I feel threatened. Why?
How I feel about it is, like, I've come across, like, I feel like it's more like men who get, like, riled up about it. Like, oh my gosh. And I think it comes from, like, the fact that, like, they don't have any way to express themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
And, like, that's another thing, like, with the sexism. Women have internalized misogyny, but, like, men, they can't express themselves. And I feel like they don't like women who express themselves
at all.
Either.
It's a threat because it's like, why are you so smart? Why do you know so much about this? And they be jealous because, like, men don't be having these conversations on the regular. A typical man is not having these conversations on the regular because they're either homophobic, transphobic. They don't care to talk about the topic, but let you bring it up. And it's a 4-page essay about why this is wrong and why it's weird and how there's only 2 genders.
And the older generations, too. The older generations, they will sit and tell you so many reasons why you can't be transgender, mm-hmm. or you can't be homosexual, you can't say that your pronouns are them, they, and it's just like, it makes me wonder, like, those conversations that you have around your kids are really harmful because you don't know what's going on in your kid's brain. You don't. So for you to sit there and have out loud conversations with other family members about how you don't like this and that and this, like, you're spreading hate to possibly your kids around you. And I don't know, I can't really sit and have, like, a conversation with those people. Like you said, they don't want to understand.
Yeah, at all.
Because them not understanding keeps their pride. They keep their pride.
Yes, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss. Absolutely. Absolutely. So next up we have comedians. Are all jokes funny even if they are offensive? We have Dave Chappelle and Cat Williams as our kickoff comedians. Y'all, Briana does not like Cat Williams, and Briana, this is your time.
Okay. I think Cat Williams is funny when he acts, but his stand-up, I don't really appreciate the way that he talks about women. And how I feel about it, maybe his jokes aren't for me. But all jokes are funny because they're true.
Yes.
And I think that I'm not offended by his jokes at all. I just feel like Cat Williams, like, he ran so, like, all the men who act like women and make fun of them could run. And, like, that trend is played out. Like, why are you dressing up as a woman and making fun of us? Like, what is that? That's not funny to me.
Let's talk about it. So
they turn us into caricature. How do you say that word?
Caricatures.
And it's like, the women who find it funny, it's like, they're making fun of you.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
Yes. So my top 3, comedians I can think of off the top of my head. Eddie Murphy did it in Norbit with Fresh Bisha. Martin Lawrence did it in Big Mama with Big Mama. He played Big Mama. He also did it with Shanae on Martin.
That's what I was thinking. Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry's not a comedian. Tyler Perry, you're a drag queen. Y'all, this is not even on. We're recording on the phone. Tyler Perry, you're a drag queen. And it's okay, babe. Live in your truth. Oh, okay. No, because...
No, I get the frustration, though. Because, like, there's nothing worse than, like... Okay. If I was Beyonce... I would
sue.
Oh no, I would sue because like how are you going? Beyonce put so much work
into Homecoming. 8 months for a 2-hour performance. Come on,
just had twins. To
have a mockery, to be made a mockery of. Okay, that's what I meant.
That was so disrespectful to me. Like I get it, it's for the last, but like. Can we stop making fun of black women? Like, we really walk so y'all could run all over us. All over us. Not even run, but y'all run all over us.
Like stampede. Like,
but we run this world. Yeah. Like, the culture comes from us. It always doesn't. It always has. The blueprint.
Yeah, always will.
So, I just don't get what's up with these comedians who make fun of us every chance.
Yes, every chance they get. Also, it hurts coming from black men, of course, because 9 times out of 10 you were raised by a black woman. I'm assuming you're married to a black woman. You may have a black daughter, but also the whole respect me because of proximity thing really sucks, because it's like, why can't you just see me as an equal? Like, gender aside, patriarchy aside, everything aside, we're both human beings. Like, what is it? Is it just because I'm a woman that you are so comfortable making a mockery of who I am and my interests and my lifestyles? And also, it's the big comedians cool, but like Drewski. Okay, Drewski's funny.
I don't think he does. He make
Drewski's funny, but like sometimes his skits are like, you studied us, like you studied us, and y'all be having fun. Like y'all be having fun making a mockery of us. So it's like, are you also a drag queen? Like do you do the drag brunches in DC on Sundays? Like,
do you have something to tell us?
Exactly. Come out. Nobody's gonna jump you. And quite frankly, like, just living your truth. I'm really tired of black women like being the facade that a lot of people put on. Especially like, can we talk about like gay white men who do it? I was about to get up and leave, but I forgot that we're recording a podcast. Okay. Yeah, let's really talk about it. I'm thinking of a gay white man. Shane Dawson. Luckily, his shenanigans kind of got him up out of here. I haven't heard that man or seen his face on my phone in like a year and a half. So bullying works sometimes if the person is bad. Disclaimer, wow, that came out really bad. Please don't bully people for fun. But Shane Dawson is like actually a really bad person. Like he's said horrible things. Him, Jeffree Star, who are the other white gays?
There's a lot of one guy, his name is Landon. I don't remember what his last name is, but his name is Landon. And you know who Pretty V is?
Pretty V. Yes, black girl?
Yes, he took her whole personality.
I know him.
Yes. He took her whole personality, and he makes money off of it.
Yeah, no, and he's probably getting paid like thrice as much as her on Instagram sponsorships or TikTok. I don't know how that stuff works. I'm not really a content creator, but I know they do for making a mockery of us in the way that we talk and our mannerisms and all of this stuff. But it's like when we do it, we're ghetto. But that sells. Like that stuff sells.
Yes.
That stuff sells. Shane Dawson, I didn't watch his earlier stuff. But when I was watching, like he really came up from mimicking us, talking down on us. And this man faced no consequences. Like 8 million subs on YouTube, partnerships, brand deals, just burn it all.
His money. He still got his money.
He still has, like, he's living very comfortably.
Yeah.
And to me, at this point, it's not enough to deplatform them. Like, I want you back where you started. Not saying rock bottom. If you started at rock bottom, then I guess. But, like, I want you back where you started because, like, you really came up off of disrespecting black women beyond measure. Like, it's not just... Very sick man. I don't even want to go into detail, but yeah, no.
And how I feel about it is like when there's conversations like this on Twitter, you always see a black man being like, y'all are so sensitive.
Yes.
And like, you don't know how it makes us feel.
Yes.
To see that the same personalities that they call ghetto, the same hairstyles that they call ghetto, the same way we wear our clothes that they call ghetto,
yep,
that these other people can put it on like a costume and make money off of it.
Yep.
And like, I just feel like you'll never get it. So for you to call somebody sensitive because they feel offended by mockery is like...
Yes. Man, I will never forget. I will never forget. There was a video on TikTok, actually, and it made its way to Twitter, of a black guy. I don't remember what he was saying about black women. I'm assuming he was saying that we are too sensitive. And it took a white woman. A white woman had to reply. Hold on, because this is a string. A white woman had to reply to a video of a black man talking bad about black women. She's like, you came from a black woman. Why are you disrespecting black women? I'm assuming you have sisters or even a daughter, or are you married to a black woman? Why you got white people in our black business?
Exactly.
You're embarrassing us. Like, imagine. You're talking so poorly about your own race that the colonizers had to come and play white savior. Please, I'm tired. It's no longer Black History Month, but it's Black History Year. Stop embarrassing me. Like, oh my goodness. That made me so mad because it's like, she's right, but yeah.
They're embarrassing themselves. Like, especially because, like, black women... When black men get shot by the police, a black woman is always going to show up. It's us. It's like, they don't show up for us.
It's us. At all.
We can't depend on them. Some of them, not all of them.
Yes.
But most of them.
Yes.
Can't depend on them because they're always going to defend the comedian. They're always going to defend the white woman. They're always going to defend the white man.
Yeah.
And it's like, where are they when you need defending, though?
Yes. Yeah.
No,
they're on Twitter making jokes.
Yeah.
Talking bad about us.
Yeah.
It seemingly never ends. I'm tired of it. But yeah, this is... I don't really have more words. I really wish it would stop, because what you just said about black women being on the front lines whenever violence occurs, mass shootings, police shootings, it's us every time. Every time.
Mm-hmm. We're going to move on. You want to go?
Yes. So next up, we have triggers. And in our subsection, we have wealth. Should poor people be able to experience life like the wealthy do?
Definitely. What is wealth, and what is a poor person? What makes somebody poor, and what makes somebody wealthy? A piece of paper?
Yeah. A piece of paper that holds monetary value, apparently. What was I going to say? I absolutely believe that wealth and richness is a state of mind. However, you could be so wealthy in the mind, but like if you're homeless,
yeah,
you know. So it's like, and then also you could have it all. Like, I bet Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, like, they be fighting demons. Like, they have like 6 therapists in rotation, because just because you're like the richest guys in the world doesn't mean that your mental isn't in shambles. I have met people, and this always humbles me. I don't like to use, and let me remove homeless people from my vocabulary. I saw a phrase. I think it was unhoused people.
Okay.
Because the way that, like, there's room in America for, quite frankly, everybody to have a space to call home, and there are still unhoused people. It drives me nuts. And even that is an understatement. I say all that to say, I forgot what I was saying.
I will piggyback off you, unhoused people. I think that in America, we have extremely high expectations as humans.
Yes.
We have to have a job, and then if we have a job, we have to pay taxes, and if we pay taxes, then we have to make sure that we live somewhere, that we have a car to get from point A from point B. If not a car, public transportation. If you have kids, they have to go to school. If you have kids, they have to have health insurance. If you have a dog, they have to have pet insurance. If you rent a place, you have to have renter's insurance. If you have a car, you have to have car insurance. There's so many things that you have to pay for. So when I hear people who have money and people who they can pay their car insurance 6 months in advance and they'll be okay, talk about poor people, it really makes them sound, what's the word? I guess ignorant would be the word.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're so privileged you don't even realize how good you have it. Like, there are people who are financially illiterate, and a lot of people, I was going to say black people, brown people, people of color are financially illiterate, whereas we were never taught what money is.
Yeah.
We were never taught how to spend it. We were never taught how to save it. We were never taught how to invest in it. Some people are scared of it. Some people are insecure because they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And it's like homeless people, it's not always a choice. Some people do choose to be homeless, but some people are homeless because they're just financially illiterate.
Yeah.
Because the system doesn't teach us anything about money. They just throw us into the world and expect us to teach ourselves.
And then, like, get a job and save. How much do I need to save? Like,
how do I save? How do I invest? What is a loan? What is a bank? I wasn't taught any of these things in school. Had to teach myself how to save money.
Yeah. You said that so perfectly. You kind of just, I don't think I know what to say because you kind of said it like, you know. No, absolutely. And what you said about being insecure when it comes to your money. Yeah, that's what I was trying to hit on the head earlier when I was talking about like black people and our trauma. It's because we were never taught. And money, like, it's not really like, oh, you know, I make under this amount, so I should be fine with my family of 4. It's like, I really don't know what to do. Because, let me say this, a typical average American, we are all the one serious health crisis, health accident, car accident, fall off a bridge. We're just one of those incidents away from, like, being
homeless,
dirt poor,
yeah,
potentially homeless. If you have no family, if you don't have a solid friend group that you may be able to crash with, if you just moved to a new country and you're still figuring your life out, just one thing. And that kind of stems into like healthcare and every other institutionalized section of America, just to, you know, exist. But if all it takes is you to break your ankle, but you really broke it, and now you need surgery and like a really expensive anesthesia and like 6 weeks of rehab. Let me say this. I had to get like 6 cavities filled. I brushed my teeth. Don't judge me, okay? I had to get 6 cavities filled, and I was like, I'm gonna do the anesthesia, and I'm gonna do the laughing gas because I have really bad anxiety. It's true, y'all. Why did I have to? Me and my mom went have $900 after insurance. $900 for them to give me 2 Valium pills. One the night before to relax me. I took one the morning that I woke up. Valium and laughing gas. And I was still about to cry in my dentist chair. I was nervous, but I was like, yo, I kind of feel bamboozled because I just feel like, why am I paying almost a bag for Valium and laughing gas at the dentist office? That's not a medical emergency.
Wow.
I have cavities and I need to get my cavities filled. So, like, yeah, I mean, like, most of us, unless you have a good paying job that has pretty decent health insurance, your eye care, optical, whatever, eye care and dental care, that's not a part of health insurance, y'all.
And I would definitely advise young people in general to take care of your health.
Please.
Because this country is not focused on preventative health care at all.
At all. It's just, okay, you have a problem, let's pump you with drugs, okay? Yeah. And I'm going to give you the most expensive drugs. They may kill you, but I'm going to get my buck. So I win in the end.
The sooner you realize that this country sees us as a number,
yeah, the
sooner you realize that it is your responsibility. And it's sad because it shouldn't be our responsibility to teach us about the system. But it is 100% our responsibility to teach ourselves about the system so that you do not get scammed. Because healthcare is not cheap. My therapy sessions have jumped to $112 for me to sit and talk to someone for an hour. It's really a scam out here. And that's why wealthy and poor people are no different from each other, other than the fact that someone has money and someone doesn't.
Because at the end of the day, I strip you bare of all your possessions. Who are you?
Exactly.
What do you stand for?
Exactly.
What are your morals? What are your values? What have you done in your life that will, transcend to generations beyond you? And I'm not even talking about some life's work, but like, how many people have you touched?
Exactly.
That is what matters to me. And not enough people can say that about themselves. It's just, I'm gonna flex on you.
I got that. I worked hard for it. But it's like, that doesn't mean that these other people aren't working hard.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean that these other people don't work overnight shifts sometimes to take care of their family.
Yeah.
Like, they're still broke.
Yeah.
It's like you got opportunities. Sometimes it was based on what you look like.
Yes.
Sometimes you were in the right place at the right time.
Yep.
Sometimes you had the code switch to get to where you were.
Yes.
But it's like, don't forget where you came from at the end of the day.
Because the universe is so quick to humble you. And it's kind of funny because in my personal experience, it feels like I was almost there, like teetering. And I was really quick, and I kind of forgot not where I came from, but I was acting day room, like I was acting new money, and the universe was like, okay, let's take you back to where you started, because I think you kind of forgot the plot.
It's easy to forget.
It's easy to forget, and I think human connection, companionship, love, generosity. These are core values that if they weren't instilled in you, like if you're not passionate about just being a genuinely good person, I don't care how rich you are, what you own, there's going to be a void. There's going to be a void of you that can't be filled, because like what I think you would really need, like you're fundamentally lacking that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of people. Like, I'm not even talking about like the big contrast between unhoused people and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Like, I mean like the middle class Americans who are making like $500K a year and they have a decent sized home, or who still may not be the best people. Humanity kind of like took a L a really long time ago, and I don't think it's going to be in this lifetime that we get back on track, because there's so much, I guess, evil that needs to be weeded out, or just like so many old traditions that like have to die before the earth can heal itself. Slick Breezy was talking about that yesterday.
The earth is healing. That's all it is.
Yeah, the earth is healing. It's just kind of taking a really long time.
Yeah. Okay, so under our triggers topic, we have abuse. And I think that in the past years, abuse has been in the limelight, which is a really good thing, because a lot of people need to be aware of the different types of abuse.
Yes.
I think the most sneakiest type of abuse that people don't talk about is emotional and mental abuse, and how being abused emotionally and mentally will change how you see the world.
Yes, and how you see yourself, most importantly. Yeah. But then again, like you only see the world based on how you see yourself. Like you only know other people based on how you based on how well you know yourself. Gosh, I couldn't get that out. Yeah, absolutely. It took me a minute to really like come to learn that and understand it, as far as the different types of abuse. I obviously knew about physical abuse growing up, verbal abuse, but emotional and mental abuse, I had to decipher the difference between verbal abuse and emotional abuse, because when I hear verbal abuse, like I'm picturing like somebody yelling and screaming at you, saying horrible things to you. But I didn't realize that I had been a victim of emotional abuse, because my abuser would just casually say these things to me, like in conversation. And abuse to me always was synonymous I think that's the word, was always synonymous with like anger or frustration. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, if we not going at it, then this isn't abuse.
Okay.
But I've had it's actually ironic, like the contrast between my parents. I'm not gonna send in this episode, or maybe I will, so I can tell them about themselves. But the contrast in between my parents was kind of funny because, like, the physical abuse I experienced, like my dad whipped me growing up, but the things that my mother would say to me, like, okay, you get your butt whooped, it hurts. You kind of have to get over it within the next hour if you want dinner. That's how it was when I was with my dad. But the things that my mom would say to me sometimes growing up, it would just sit with me. And that feeling, and of course being whooped obviously isn't fun either, but like just having something sit with you in your head, and it sits with me in my chest, and my throat chakra just be close. Oh brother, having that stuff sit with you. Daunting is not the word. Grotesque is not the word. It's the worst. It feels like you have a code that you can't shake. And a lot of the times, like when I was younger, I didn't know how to like respectfully, emphasis on respectfully, bring that up and say, hey, it really hurt me when you said this, or when you said this made me feel this way. So I would just suppress it. And I'm actually really happy that I didn't change who I am as a person, who I am now as a growing woman, and how I interact with people. Because like when I open up to you and Rashida and like the rest of our friend group actually about like some of the stuff I've been through in my childhood, they were kind of shocked because it's like, it never gave that. But like most people, they wear their abuse. And I obviously don't think it's a choice, but it's like if you've been through enough and you suppress it enough, for starters, you can't keep that stuff hidden in you forever. And two, if you've been through enough, like it's gonna leak into different aspects of your life. So now it may leak into how you interact with other people, or the company you keep around you, or how you talk to your friends. And I'm just so blessed that wasn't me, because my light, like I don't know who I would be without my light. Like, and that stuff, especially going through that through your formative years, like 3 through 10, I don't know. Just like being a kid and having that be your foundation for like how you navigate the world up until this point. Now I'm 20, I'm unlearning and relearning. Every day it feels like something new. Having that be your foundation, it's so quick to just be like, oh, well, this is just how I am. And like, I mean, because by default, that is quite frankly just how you are. But a lot of people don't care to like be like, something's not right here. I think it's time for therapy. It's just maybe next lifetime I will maybe next lifetime my circumstances will be different. I just did a monologue. Sorry, that wasn't intentional.
That wasn't intentional. It's really healthy that you can talk about it though. A lot of people, they aren't going to tell you what they've gone through, and like you said, they wear it. And I feel like a lot of people, whether they realize it or not, their hurt hurts other people.
Yes. And
I think one of the things, like you said, growing up, like I felt like I always had to prove myself to my family members, and it was just like, I'm very grateful for my little cousins, because they honestly, like, they make me feel like I can be my childlike self. They they bring it out of me, and it's like I let them be a kid, because I know how it feels to grow up and not be able to be a kid.
Yes.
Or be told that you're this because of this how you act, when in actuality you're just acting like a kid. So I definitely understand that, but the thing about abuse, when you said like sitting with it, the thing for me getting over abuse was how I had to always prove myself in my to my family members. I carried that over to my relationships. Double back to the first episode. Yes. Go check it out. I always chose friends that I had or relationships. I don't even call it relationship when I was in high school. Just like people who I thought I was infatuated with. I would pick people that didn't really know me for who I was at my core, just saw me on the surface level, and they used to speak stuff into me that wasn't me, or be kind of like harsh when it came to my behaviors because they didn't like it, but it was me. That was my genuine self, and I always experienced people talk down on who I was, and I internalized that. And I think, like, listening to people who are just projecting, that's all abuse is.
Yes.
It's just projection. And I'm not gonna, that may sound tone deaf when it comes to, like, physical, but it is projection, and no one deserves to go through it, first of all, but it is always projection. And if you internalize it, I think me internalizing it made me so boring. Like, it made me like lifeless, numb to experiences, to life. So if you're ever facing something like that, I would say, like, don't be afraid of people who are abusive, one, because they're really afraid of themselves. They don't understand. I feel like some people who are abusive or have experienced abuse, when they see a child or somebody who's delicate or somebody like that has a bright light, they don't know how to treat that. They don't know how to treat somebody like that because they once were that person. So they're going to talk down on you. They may put their hands on you, but it's up to you to navigate what you want to do with how you're being treated. Yep. And I know that this is probably, like, a really hard topic to talk about with, like, friends or family members, but find somebody you can trust and somebody who is going to actually listen to you rather than try to tell you what they think they know about your situation. Just talk to somebody, because that phrase, hurt people, is so true. Like, to a T. Like, absolutely. Hurt people. If you are hurt and you're carrying hurt around, you're just going to take it out on other people. Yeah.
It's true. Something you said really resonated with me. I'm trying to remember. What did you say?
I was just talking about proving myself to people, my family members.
Lifelessness, yes. Yeah. It's kind of funny because, like, I felt that, and with my mom in particular, we're kind of complete opposites. If anything, I'm more like my dad, like, personality-wise, because he's very playful, and his inner child comes out to play a lot. And I actually love that about him. But with my mom, it's like, she just don't get it. And, like, I think that may be the simplest way for me to respectfully sum it up. Because when you said, like, there was one point that I felt like I had to prove myself to her. So, like, I tried to live life like her, and I'm like, I see why you are the way that you are, because you're depriving yourself of life-changing experiences. And when I say life-changing, I don't mean, like, going to, like, Africa and doing, like, research work in Sierra Leone. Like, I quite frankly just mean, like, having a night out with friends that was spontaneous. Yep. Some of the best nights of my life, thus far, I'm only 20, have been hanging out with my friends, like, spontaneously, and just doing fun stuff, and just
living.
Just that's living, what life is. Living. Whatever living looks like to you. Because to somebody else, what I just said could have been the most boring thing ever. Like, you're like, you don't go to New Zealand on the weekends to participate in skydiving. No, I don't. I'm not first class like you are. Okay.
But do you think that goes back to the internalized misogyny, though? Ooh. Because, like, I feel like a lot of women don't know who they are at their core because of men, or just because of society. Yeah. Society. But I feel like, I'm not saying that your mom does this, but I'm saying I've experienced it, where, like, women, they don't know who they are, and they rely on men to tell them who they are.
Yes, and what they like, and what foods they like, and what color their hair should be, and how they should decorate their bathroom. You're weird. Yes, I do. I do think that it goes back to internalized misogyny, because I'm very strong-willed, and a lot of people take that as a threat, because I know what I want. I'm very unapologetic. Sometimes when I respectfully voicing my opinion, and when I'm speaking my mind, a lot of people don't like that, and it's men, like, a lot of the time, and I just giggle, because it's like, aww, your sense of masculinity has been threatened, so now you're like, aww, like, I ruffled your feathers, and I quite frankly could not care less, and I never will. Yay. Yeah, I mean it all. Very, very rarely do I say things that I don't really mean. I meant that wholeheartedly. Yeah, internalized misogyny. I want it to end. I want it to end quickly.
It will end because of podcasts like this.
We're influencers. No, but like just to hear that makes me feel good. Just to hear that makes me feel really good. I want to answer this and then we can move on to see. Okay, so my abuse absolutely does affect me still in my adult life. I'm actively working through it. But when I realized that I was just doing a disservice to myself because I was robbing, like, allowing your trauma and your past abuse to, like, reframe how your mind works will literally, like, allow you to miss out on your blessings. And, like, you will, I hate this word, but, like, you'll be craving people who, like, were sent into your life to, like, show you how you deserve to be loved. And I quite literally almost just did that. Like, TMI. No, but if you don't work through it, like, you're just gonna go through your whole life seemingly, like, out of control because you won't know when to stop and smell the roses. And knowing when to stop and smell the roses and, like, just keep walking is so important because sometimes it's a gray area, but if you're tapped into yourself and if you're intuitive enough, it'll just be clear as like night and day.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that made sense. It made sense in my head. I don't know if it made sense coming out. Okay. But
does my abuse affect me in my everyday life? That's a great question. I don't know. I've been doing a lot of work. I call it shadow work.
Yes.
On my past relationships, friendships, my family. So I think certain times, like when I'm about to make a big step, definitely the little voice in my head that's making me feel like I have to prove myself to myself. It pops out. It likes to make me feel like I'm not doing enough.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So I definitely still working through that. But one thing about me, I'll have so many voices in my head telling me not to do it, even though deep down inside I know that I'm in the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
I know when to listen to myself. Like you said, smell the roses. I know when to listen to myself, and I know when to just keep it pushing.
Mm-hmm.
So
P.
It's all about discernment at the end of the day.
Yes, discernment. Absolutely. So now we're gonna talk about trigger warning. I'm not being funny. Okay. We're gonna talk about eating disorders, mental illnesses, and self-harm. And whether or not it's become performative or normalized.
I see a lot of TikToks of younger teenagers who use self-harm as a trend, and it's really disturbing because growing up, I didn't know how normal it was for self-harm. I was completely ignorant to it. I thought it was something that only happened in movies just because I didn't grow up around it. Well, I guess I didn't grow up around it in the way that it was portrayed on the movies, which is why I kind of, like, didn't bat an eye at it. But I see a lot of, like, kids on TikTok who, like, make TikToks about self-harm and how, I don't know, I get the vibe that they think is cool in a way. And that may be me misinterpreting it, and I apologize if I am, but I don't think I am. I think that it's a trend. It's a trend to be mentally ill. It's a trend to self-harm.
Yeah.
It's a trend to have an eating disorder. And I don't think it's a trend to have any of those things.
At all. These are all things that cause, as in currently and have caused many people lifelong dread. Faking eating disorders. First of all, you have to actually be a very sick individual to pretend that you have an eating disorder for attention. Because literally, why else? Why else would you pretend? The same with mental illnesses and self-harm. Yeah, like that big three, sorry, wrong terminology, that trio of, like, stuff that a lot of preteens and teenagers and even young adults and grown people too, that trio, like, that's nothing to really be played with. There was 13 Reasons Why. I'm not sure how that show had, like, 3 or 4 seasons. I watched them all. Probably shouldn't have, because after every season I felt incredibly heavy, because I'm like, these are fictional people, yeah, but
this stuff happens in real life
to people who, in way worse circumstances, who have it way worse, and who do ultimately sometimes end up committing suicide, or who live but struggle with suicidal ideation. I think that's it. Okay. Whilst having an eating disorder and practicing self-harm actively, like, that's nothing to really pray about. And these are sometimes people who don't have access to the resources to get therapy or mental help, or to be committed to a psychiatric hospital, or for rehabilitation if it's that severe, like if it's needed. So yeah, TikTok has honestly made a lot of things cool to joke about that aren't cool, and they shouldn't remain taboo. Like suicidal ideation and self-harm and eating disorders, I don't think they need to remain taboo, because the conversation needs to be had, but in a respectful manner. Like that's the give. Like, yeah, like let's talk about it, but respectfully, because these are real people who are struggling with real problems.
I think it should be taught in school.
Absolutely. Because
the first exposure I ever got to that was the media, and the media is unrealistic, like very unrealistic. So yes. I think that these topics should be taught to young kids in school, and they should understand that their bullying habits contribute to it, and that it could be their closest friends who are dealing with it. And it just needs to be taught so that younger kids know how to handle it, and they also maybe can prevent themselves from even taking on these habits, or know what to do when they have these suicidal thoughts, or etc. Because I just feel like we went back. We went backwards. We were doing good. The cyberbullying.
Yeah.
We were doing good. And I think TikTok sent us backwards.
Yeah.
The younger
single-handedly. That is what's crazy. That is what's crazy. It's kind of our generation, but I want to say it's like the sophomores.
Yeah.
And like
youngers.
Yeah. It's like kids. And maybe it's because like they haven't really, and I'm not trying to undermine anybody who has experienced a lot if you're like 16 and under, but for the what am I trying to say? For the majority, I kind of feel like they're mocking something that they haven't like truly experienced. And I'm not gonna pray that you experience, these things, because they're horrible, but
don't mock it.
Don't mock it. Especially because you have not like experienced it.
Yeah.
TikTok has made a lot of stuff like funny to joke about, and it's like where's the line that we don't cross for 1 million likes? Like, come on.
Moral of the story is, I think people are becoming more socially aware.
Yes.
I think it's a good thing too.
Yeah.
Because the more everybody's taking the more people can take accountability for their actions and are taken accountable, the more we can just recognize each other as beings with emotions and feelings, and not sensitive. And even if we are sensitive, like, it's okay to be sensitive.
Yes. You're just tapped in a little more than the regular person.
It's fine.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
It's a very beautiful thing to understand your thoughts and understand how your thoughts trigger your emotions and communicate them effectively.
Yes. Sorry, I got an Afterpayment notification. Don't use Afterpay, guys. Okay. This video is not sponsored by Afterpay. Okay. Yeah, I think that wraps us up. If there's anything else you wanna. Oh, well, there's something I kind of want to touch on when Briana, like, when we were talking about the section of identity, you summarized how I feel about it perfectly. I used to think, like, I needed to label myself for validation from others and really myself, but I have learned that life is going to throw me, well, let me not say throw, a gentle push. I'm gonna have a lot of gentle pushes throughout my life that may shift me into directions I didn't even know existed. So to be fluid and open and free is the end goal for myself, and I will wish that on everybody. Like, there's so much beauty in not confining yourself to a gender or a sexuality. Emphasis on sexuality, because literally,
be what you want to be, and don't make fun of other people for
yes, love who you want to love. Hearts, not parts. I'm gonna get that tatted right here.
I like that.
Hearts, not parts. When people ask me what my sexuality is, what does your heart look like? I don't even really care. Like, well, I don't care. But, you know, like who are you as a person? If we here with it, then I'm hooked. So what, you're a woman? So what, you're trans? So what, you're pan? So what, you're queer? Like, none of that, please, none of that matters to me. How do you make me feel? How do you love on your community? How do you give back? That's what matters to me. And I really wish that's what mattered to everybody else. But alas, you can't change the world in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. That's my piece. I had to get that out because I wish I heard that when I was younger. It was just black or white, sometimes gray, but these conversations weren't being had around me. I heard them, but like they weren't being actively had around me. So I'm happy that I'm having these conversations with you now and that the youth is going to hear it.
Thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you guys for listening.
Please come back. Next episode will be out soon. Hope you enjoy this episode. Thanks again. Bye.